The field events get underway with a hammer throw. Scott Neilson of Washington is the favorite.
During his collegiate career at the University of Washington, Scott Neilson was the personification of the adage, speak softly, carry a big stick. In Neilson's case, that stick of choice was a hammer.
He wins with a throw of 216 feet 8 inches.
Quiet but mighty, this 6'5", 248-pound husky wielded the hammer so well, he set a collegiate record in 1978 that stood for 18 years. Neilson dominated in the weight throw too, never losing a competition in either event during his time at Washington. This native Canadian became the first field event athlete to win 4 NCAA titles in the same event, the first athlete in NCAA history to win as many as 7 field event titles. His accomplishments in the throws spoke volumes. Tonight, let's bow down to Washington's Scott Neilson as he joins the Collegiate Athlete Hall of Fame.
Hammer time, Scott Neilson. You got the call that you were going to be inducted into this Hall of Fame. You thought you were getting punked.
Absolutely. Someone calls me up, says they've got great news. Give me a call. Sam Scenes, like I didn't know who he was, from Louisiana, other side of the country. Yeah, I just deleted that. But he called me up about 4 or 5 days later. But you know, I was getting. I saw that it was his name, and then I realized, oh, geez, Hall of Fame, like, I'm not getting $1 million. This is even more bizarre. Anyway, he mentioned Ken Shannon's name, and I thought, oh, this just isn't a ruse. Yeah.
And what's it feel like?
It's pretty amazing to be with all these track and field greats, and you know, especially seeing a bunch of my UW track buddies. It's been a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, let's start there, because we had a little get together last night, and there was a table full of Huskies, family, friends, your coach. What did that mean to you? Because it was really touching to observe it from a distance.
Well, I think one of the reasons why I went to University of Washington was Ken Shannon, his personality, and you know, his other athletes. It was like they were his family, and I thought, geez, I feels like I'm being welcomed into his family too, and his wife Janet and kids are around too, and it was just something that I wanted to be a part of.
But you almost went to UTEP.
Yeah, I think the idea of, they had Peter Farmer, NCAA champion, there in hammer throw, and you know, I think the thought of maybe following in his footsteps, you know, I maybe losing the thought of some of my other goals in life and what I needed for me.
And as Bert reminded us, there's nothing to do in El Paso anyway. High school, how does one get hooked on the hammer?
Well, my story starts probably when I'm grade 3. You know, I was a big guy, overweight, clumsy, you know, maybe couldn't read that well, and you know, so I had problems. But I had an older brother, athletic. He wanted to do lots of sports, and whatever he did, I guess I had to follow. But he wanted to ski and ski race, so you know, I started skiing. But you know, it's a real bummer when, you know, the first run, the first day of skiing, you break your leg. But the next 3 or 4 years, I skied 30, 40 times a year, and you know, got into reasonable shape. And you know, that was when you could do it on a $4 a day lift ticket, and if your parents bought you a season's pass, it was like $2 a day. So then I was you know, in good enough shape to throw the shot and disc in elementary school, and my brother, being an athlete, he thought that maybe lifting was a good idea, and out of 2x4s, wood 2x4s, he built a bench press and squat rack, and that's where I lifted for the next 4 or 5 years. And getting in high school, you need kind of 3 events. So I wasn't going to run or certainly wasn't going to jump or throw the javelin. I knew from baseball I didn't have an arm. But, the track coach, Ray Wicklund, thought, yeah, you should throw the hammer. So he gets the machine shop to, build a hammer. And, there it is. We had no idea really what to do with it. There was no videos, and you certainly couldn't go on and get the video of a hammer thrower.
And is this where they took a shot put?
Yep, shot put a swivel wire and triangle hammer, and high school student from the next school over came, and where I was throwing 50 feet, he threw 150, and I thought, holy Jesus. And then a year later, I'm throwing, 140, and two guys had just finished weightlifting at the Y in New West, and they saw this hammer thrower, me, and thought, oh, geez, look at that. We got to go out there. So they coached me and, wanted to throw it themselves. And where I was throwing 140, they threw like 250. I didn't realize that they were the, was or to be the Canadian record holders in Canada shortly after I started throwing. So they took it upon themselves to coach me in their spare time, and it got me to a level where I was lucky enough to be recruited at the University of Washington.
He goes to the University of Washington. Now, we all know about the Beatles, the Fab Four, and most of us probably know about the Michigan Fab Four in basketball. But in between those two Fab Fours was the Fab Four from the University of Washington, the throwers, right?
Yeah, it was great to be a part of that. Yeah, that was my first year, and just fitting into that family. A great experience. Loved it.
And I believe one member of the Fab Four was with us last night. Is here today?
Yeah, Russ Vincent out there. Yeah, and after winning the throws in the Pac-8, we went on to two NCAA throws and 2 fourth-place finishes. So we did fantastic. But Ken Shannon continued on the throwing tradition, and a great place to be.
As a Husky, is this the best reception you've ever gotten in Eugene?
No. Yeah, for sure.
Because the clapping ends after tonight, okay. Scott Neilson, Hall of Fame.